Hey there, it's day Sideways Infinity, number 8. We're in Finding Peace in Times of Great Change. Actually, today is a day of great change, as a matter of fact. So there you go. All right, you guys. Today is about finding stillness when there's a lot of noise pulling at you. How do you find stillness? We're going to call it 0 point. 0 point is this idea of of literally feeling in such neutrality that it actually transcends thinking about future or past, and you exist in the space between the atoms in pure possibility. So imagine that. You just sit in the space between the atoms in the land of pure possibility. Interesting day to be doing that. So that's what it is. Why we're doing that is because in the land of pure possibility, that's the place where you can reach discernment, where you can actually tap into discernment versus, so in other words, your soul, your greater self, your essence, your higher consciousness, your deeper wisdom, whatever you want to call it, has the capacity to actually reside in the space of everything and nothing all at once. In that space, pure possibility lives. It is the space of greatest power for you. This is a place where you get your most, I would say, efficient answers. You also have the power to move mountains from that place. For everyone who's joining us today in the United States, it's an auspicious day. For everyone else all around the world, it's going to be an interesting next couple of days, right? Everybody, if you can type in your name, where you're hailing from, and what your word is, like we do every day, I'd love to see. I read them all. So, and as Adam said, we really appreciate that you're joining us today because you could be lots of other places. But what a great day to be communing together energetically, uh, online. Hey, the brain doesn't really make the differentiation between us seeing each other this way and us actually being live. The only thing that's missing is a physical hug, right? All right. And what's your word? So why we're doing it is because this exercise could be used in any aspect of your life. When you know that there are lots of pullings on you, something as simple as you're deciding on whether to go on a vacation or not. And then you start using your rational mind and you start weighing the pros and cons, which is rational. And instead of using the pros and cons from the point of view of greater consciousness, you can do one of two things. From the point of view of being at 0 point, you can do one of two things. You can choose to stay or you can choose to go. And either way, from that powerful place, consciousness will make it the right thing. Or there may be, because of the trajectory of your life, an actual right thing to do, right? There's maybe even a right thing to do. There might be something that's in the highest for you, but it might not make any rational sense. Some of my favorite things are to do things that don't make any rational sense. Sometimes that's how I know I'm on the right track because it feels expansive, but it doesn't make any rational sense. My favorite thing. So, my word today is compassion for myself and others. Yeah, compassion for myself and others. So, next is how can you use it? So, where can you use it? Well, one is vacation. of course. A second place that you could use it is literally, deciding if you're gonna start dating again or not. It could be it definitely could be deciding on, political candidates, except when you discern about political candidates, it has nothing to do with rationale. It has to do See, because when you're in the space between atoms, you actually let your consciousness, which anyone can do, it doesn't take special people. You could be a doctor, a lawyer, a bus driver, I don't care. Everyone can capacitate getting to a 0 point. I promise you, you've been there before. You've been on the top of a mountain somewhere. You've been on a lake in a canoe. You've been playing with puppy dogs. You've been cuddling with a baby. You've been at 0 point. You've been in the land of pure possibility where everything could go any different direction. Yes, even you, Adam. Um, and so when we're at that 0 point, the power comes from the fact that that consciousness is conspiring on your behalf. And the warehouse of possibilities that have been waiting for you, that are the result of the polarities, problems, catalysts, and inspirations that you've had, are most available, most available when you actually get to that state. Adam has a special meditation that he does that actually gets him to that state where he just feels everything and nothing. It's my favorite thing that he does, because he becomes a different person. He just becomes wide open. And when I go for walks, I have that same feeling. I become wide open and vulnerable to it all. And that state of vulnerability, that state of availability and vulnerability to it all, it has us have an open heart, a heart that's ready to receive. And so we're going to dissolve into all the dimensions. I'd love to hear how that sounds to you, how that feels to you, what that possibility feels like to you. Again, I hope you can see the use in your life, because as soon as you dissolve into pure possibility, there's actually a great deal of humor and joy available there. And so many people in this world right now, there's so much energy going on right now that what happens is, I used to use chocolate, and people laugh because there's no stigma attached to chocolate, but I used to use chocolate as a crutch. I don't think I've had chocolate in months or really. And I used to use chocolate to feel better, but and it was definitely an addiction. But people certainly use junk food. You know, they use weed, you know, they use cheese. Yeah, people use cheese. People use alcohol. They use, whatever. Some people use wheat. Wheat gives you a temporary fix of sugar. You know, some people over-exercise. That would be the addictive sign of it. They would over-exercise. Did I ever do that? I'm not sure if I did. But I'd love for you to write into the chat, what did you used to use? What was your crutch of choice? And the thing is, all it takes is a little discipline. All it takes is a little discipline. To actually find the same feeling I used to get from chocolate takes a little bit of discipline, right? And I'll tell you, when you have an addiction to something, like in my case, chocolate, what happens is, I wasn't willing to look at what was behind, like, right before I ate the chocolate, what was actually going on inside of me. I wasn't willing to actually look at that. And sometimes it wasn't the lack of willingness, it was that my brain was so overwhelmed or so tired or so exhausted or whatever it was that I had no access. And I didn't create systems to be able to, like, deal with whatever I was carrying, right? Diane, look at you. So so I say that, yeah, I don't think I ever overexercised, Jerry. I think the biggest thing was for sure chocolate, right? So and yeah, some people go to sleep. They just fall asleep. Some people even have noticed that narcoleptic people, it's like life is too much, boom, out, right? So what I wanna share with you is you want to get used to getting yourself to the 0 point where everything is possible, especially when you already feel good, so that you get used to it, right? Because otherwise, you're gonna go back to the quick fixes. The other thing is you wanna make sure that in between time, so one of the things we do around here, I'll just I was just on a call earlier today about something called the Rasha. The Rasha is this I've been, you can get foundational, they're scalar frequencies, and these scalar frequencies are amazing for people that are especially people that are too heady, like, they tend to go internal when things bother them, and what this thing does is it actually, delivers frequencies trinaurally, not binaurally, so it goes all the way through your cells, all the way through it, and what it does is it transmutes patterns hundreds at a time without you needing to be mentally involved, so that means things transmute. You become different. You don't necessarily need to know why. And because it doesn't engage your brain, you don't get all the upset associated with it, and all of a sudden, in between each of the sessions on Wednesdays, and I'll tell you, it was so powerful what's happening to everybody who's doing them. Are having unexplainable things happening. The biggest things are irrationality is going away. Reactivity is going away. Um, doing it and all this but I'm sharing this with you because there are tools right now because of scientists that are just downloading all of efficiency. I'm just so overanalyzing. I'm over it, right? And I'm not spiritually bypassed. Yeah. Oh, my voice is cutting in and out. And so I have no idea how my mic got muted. Can you guys hear me now? It's gonna have to be. Can you guys hear me now? Just let me know. Okay, good, good. So you guys, um, I was just saying, uh, oh, I'm just gonna stop this mic. Uh, I'm just gonna use another mic. There we go. Tell me if you can hear now. I'm so sorry, everyone. Um, can you hear me now? Let me know. I'm no longer using this mic. I'm using my computer's mic. Let me know. All right, so I'm going to go back to what I was saying. Still choppy. That's odd. Very weird. Okay, we'll do one more thing. Meditation. Very odd. Okay, 1 second. I'm going to try one more mic. I have 3 mics. Let's see. All right, guys, there's my 3rd mic. How is that? It might be the weather. All right, how is that, you guys? Any better? Going once, going twice. Can you hear me okay? I need you to put it into the comments. Okay, it's a bit better. Okay. And for the rest of you, it's still the same. I have no idea what's going on, you guys. 0 idea. So, Adam, should I go out and come back in? What do you think?
No. Continue.
No? Okay. So, so you guys, the deal is that I guess I'll just hold it. That's so funny. Okay. The deal is this, that it's election interference. That's it. So the deal is that there are tools now that help us transcend. We actually don't have to work so hard to transcend the old. In fact, consciousness is moving so fast right now and life is moving so fast right now that if you actually use the old tools of like, oh, I don't know, analysis, uh, 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 talk therapy, like literally life is going to move past, it's going to move past you. And so some of the beautiful, it has its place, trust me. Chatting has its place for the deeply rooted stuff, but even that, so much of that can be loosened by some of the amazing scalar tech these days. And so much of the nervous system of humanity can be calmed down using things like the EE system. And of course, the Rasha that I was talking about earlier, whereby the results of the current group, especially since we're doing weekly sessions with them, of moving through how they're changing verbally, in between their actual Rasha sessions. And Rasha, like I said, is a scalar technology where it delivers tonalities that are a harmonic that's the same as nature. So it literally harmonizes you with the entire globe. And everything that isn't in harmony has to leave. And it's so cool. So something that I recommend highly, which by the way, if you can write support at thewideawakening.com if you want to know more about that. It's very, very cool though. But we're going to 0 point. And you'll see the link there if you want to find out more. The reason I put that there is not for a sales pitch. It's because right now you got to know that the world is just going to keep moving faster and the changes are going to become epic and it's going to be at a systems level. And this is not to freak you out, but it's so that you understand that the kids that are coming in now are wired for this. And if you're over 35, 40, you're probably not wired for it. And so there are ways to catch up so you can really grow bigger than all of these changes. And today is kind of a tipping point in the world of those changes. The last thing I wanted to say before we did our 0 point is that this world is not going to change because of political leaders. This world is going to change because of you. It's how you treat your wife. It's how you treat your husband. It's how you treat yourself. It's how you honor your life, not waiting for other people to validate your self-worth. It's connecting to your own source, however you language that, so that you understand your worth according to that source. Because if you look for it from people outside of you, they're fallible, they're changeable. Some of them smoke too much weed, so you're not going to get that validation. They barely validate themselves, right? It really relies on you actually having your own connection so that you can give from your overflow. And when you give from your overflow, and when you're in your 0 point, when you've done that every day, when you're actually available to the space between the atoms, you start to develop a confidence that everything is possible. And instead of being insecure, you start to be secure in this world. And when you're secure in this world, you're solution-based instead of being fear-based and waiting for everybody else to give you feedback that you're okay. And then you become a movement of one, truly. And you become a movement of one to many, no matter what you do. And people coming from their overflow is what's going to change this world. It's not going, if you wait around to giving your power away to different leaders, no matter who wins in any election, no matter where you are in the world, it doesn't matter who wins. The people that are going to change the trajectory of this world are us. It's you. It's us. We're the ones. If you have not watched the TED Talk that I did, I cannot recommend more The Movement of One. It really is all about today. It's about the movement of one to many. Not that you have to create a movement, but it's how you be in every day. But that is going to take you actually being at 0 point yourself so that you can give from your overflow, my friend. All right. Or you're just part of the same old world. You'll just contribute to the same old that goes on. You'll contribute to being annoyed by people, making people wrong, being polarized. Thanks, Anne. So here we go. 0 point. So as we always start, first we got to start, as we always do, we're going to start with taking our consciousness behind our eyes. We're going to take our consciousness behind our eyes, but we're going to let it actually sink through to your pineal gland. Now, your pineal gland is something that the Egyptians called, or the ancient Egyptians called, the eye of Ra. The pineal gland is very much exactly the shape of the eye of Ra. And many say that it is the portal to all the other dimensions of us. You know how we talked about previously, scientifically, that we are cells, then molecules, then atoms, then protons, neutrons, and electrons, then waveforms and quarks, and all the things, the subatomic particles that you can't see. Well, imagine you could actually just take your awareness right through the portal of that pineal gland, right through the portal, and drop into all that is. What if it doesn't take someone special? What if you don't have to be a guru on a mountaintop? What if right now you could just literally conjure the experience of going through the doorway to the entire universe that you're in and the entire universe that is within you simultaneously? So just pretend for a moment that you could do this if your mind is going a little bit nuts and saying, I can't do that. Just imagine that you can, and then do it. Take your consciousness through a doorway that goes to pure quiet, where the original guts that were spilled into this universe, all the atoms and the subatomic quarks and waves and gravitational pulls, everything is there, the dark matter. And your awareness is situated in the middle of all of it. Looking around you, maybe there's quasars, and maybe you can feel other dimensions. You're literally situated, as you take your consciousness there, in a space beyond time. That which makes planets, all the ingredients are there. All the ingredients are there for the future potential of life on a planet, just like it was before our planet was birthed. All of the death of star systems is also there because there's wormholes where suns have imploded on themselves. And you're having the experience of things being birthed, things being changed, and literally the true potential of the future of life for anywhere in the universe. All of the ingredients are all around you. The physical ingredients, the metaphysical ingredients, and just relax into the pure potential of it all. Let yourself just reside in that pure potential. Now imagine the energy of that pure potential as you're there with your awareness comes up through your core, up through your nervous system, out the top of your head, and then goes out into the universe and comes back around to go up your spinal column. So it's almost like this rejuvenative, regenerative energy, just like the spiraling galaxies moving through space and time, creating upon creation. Imagine that you're just the human form of that level of creativity, where asteroids and comets and all sorts of things bump into each other and end up causing new star systems as a result. You're just a microcosm of that macrocosm. Feel your sameness. Allow yourself to be available to know that as a consciousness, you're doing the same thing that the universe is. Letting the movement of life move through you and bumping up against people and things and beauty and sunsets and whatever it is. And just like in the universe, things are bumping up against each other. They're literally causing miracles to happen, things that never were to be created. And you're just a microcosm of that macrocosm. And instead of doing anything with that, just let yourself reside in that knowing for a moment. Feel the pure possibility moving through you and all around you. Let yourself drop into just the now, where you're in the presence of that, where there's nothing to do with it. There's just the joy of feeling the pure potential of it. You don't have to make anything. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do something. Feel who you really are. Allow yourself to be available to being shown as deeply as you've ever been shown that you are that alchemical. You are that. You are that. Let yourself feel the expansiveness of that. Now let yourself kind of be present to all the others that are like that right now, joining you all over the world. Whether they're in this conversation right now, whether they listen to the replay. In this place, there's no time, space, so they're already here. The people that don't even know that we're doing this and we're inviting them in and they can feel something going on. Imagine that we're all here, really present to the alchemy that it is to be alive. And this is where we were before we came to planet Earth. Just breathe that through. And now imagine that contrast is part of life. It's what causes the particles to move. It's what causes the desires to be birthed. It's what causes the potentials to be born. It's what causes your dreams to come alive. That everything that you perceive doesn't work is actually birthing all of the futures that not only you, but billions of other people will be living into strictly because you or they or somebody wanted something more from life. So there's really nothing wrong. The only thing that sometimes feels off is you get a little bit focused on the problem as opposed to learning how to be available for the solutions. But imagine if you became the Olympic athlete of the solutions that were birthed from the contrast. How great would life be? Just let yourself feel around into that. Let go of all your righteous indignation about what's going on around you, in the world, in your country, in your business, in your marriage, in your money. Just let it go. And let yourself be available to the world of all of the solutions that necessarily were simultaneously birthed. Reside in those solutions, even though your mind doesn't know it, we don't care. Let yourself feel what it feels like to be in the 0 point of pure possibility. Take a big breath in and sigh. Very cool. All right, you guys. Slowly breathe that in like you're breathing in the stardust back through your pineal portal back into your entire body. Like you're breathing the stardust through your pineal gland back into your physical body. You're taking it with you as you breathe your physical body. With this second breath, just breathe the gratitude that you had so many people side by side with you in that experience. And last but not least, breathe your eyes slowly open. Now you can go back and listen to this anytime. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. You can come back to this anytime. It'll be on YouTube. And what I recommend, I would love first before we go to see in the comment field, um, I would love to see your response to that particular 0 point. How did it feel to you? What came to you? What did you see? What did you imagine? What's possible? It's a significant day. We're going a little bit longer today. So, what's possible now? What did you see? What did you feel? For me, I mean, I always go on the journey with you. For me, what I felt was a big relief from some stress from earlier. Just, oh, yeah, that's who I am. I have a divine intolerance to anything else but who I really am. And I actually have a divine intolerance to anyone else being anything less than who they really are. Yeah. It's like for me also, it's like a cellular smile, Nika. It's like my cells smile when I'm there because it's like, oh, such a beautiful reminder. It's like such a reminder of the truth. Do you know that when you're reminded of the deepest truths, your body just goes, ah. And when your body goes, ah, that's the most expansive feeling. Like, as soon as you feel that expansive, you know you're on the track of your greatest possibility. It's like that relaxation into, ah. It's your physical sign when your shoulders drop that you've come into a deeper truth. What else did you feel and hear, you guys? What did you need to see, feel, and hear in that particular 0 point meditation? I'll wait for you to do some comments while I let you know that you can join us here tomorrow. Tomorrow is awesome. Tomorrow is all about receptivity and forgiveness. So, we're going to have a very interesting conversation about receptivity and forgiveness. And I want to remind you that this world is not going to be changed by politicians. Mostly what they do is the catalyst stuff. We are the ones, my beautiful, gorgeous friends. You are a movement of one, and we are a movement of one, all of us. And my question is, are we all victims of this world? Or are we actually creator consciousness having a powerful experience where we're bringing to life what has never been? And what tools do you need to learn in order to do that? I know many of you will be in our embodiment thriving operating system program next week. And when you come, that's exactly what we teach. So I am very excited to be there. Greg Lathrop from the Conscious Center for Living and Dying is going to be with us tomorrow. He's not only a lovely human being, but he is on the Wisdom Council for them, or the Elder Council, I should say. And he's going to do a very powerful process with us to kind of, he's so good at, he comes up in the indigenous traditions. So he's so good at, he's just well trained at telling powerful stories. So he's got a couple of stories for us tomorrow. Can't wait for you to meet him. All right, you guys, thanks for sharing. Love you. Have a fantastic, or as JK says, blistastic night. And I'm glad you're remembering CB Photon 71. All right. And big hugs all the way to Barcelona, Joan, bringing good vibes to Spain. I know they need them there too. Okay, you guys. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your night. Big hugs. Bye.